stick style, which I really actually like.
Why is the world so slow today with the internet and stuff? Something's going on.
Something is going on. Alright, live control room. Oh wow, hit the preview button. Yeah. Alright, well, you want to just, Tess wants to see the, alright, we're live. Let's go, guys. Alright, we're bringing Brian the intern and Tess on an adventure where we are going to be live streaming a mobile stream to test our technology. Tess, come over here. I thought this would be a good... So we're about to go. We're doing some mobile streaming to our cloud server. We are going to talk a little bit about Facebook being down today.
Yes, that was
Crazy.
A little bit scary. I was wondering if the stream is actually going to happen.
Mobile streaming with a cloud server, allowing us to switch between this wireless stream, which is really high quality with the LiveU Solo, and then back to our studio, our podcast studio. We're actually going to interview Daniel from LiveU.
This is all testing a situation where Paul's not going to be here, and Michael and I are going to be responsible for starting this stuff up. So bear with us, and let's get started.
Let's start with a little techie look at the cloud server. So I just want to show people how to do that. So the interesting thing here with what's going on in the world today is you can essentially have a television-style network, a television network with multiple different broadcast studios. Literally, Tess, can you pull it up here? In a control room. I call it a cloud-based control room. The Tess can switch between so you can see there, that's the podcast area there. I guess, you switched. Go back. They can't hear us. Alright, there we go. We switched back. But you can switch for multiple things. You can have an overlay, do a lot of fun stuff. So that's what we're doing today. Let us know in the chat.
That's something to think about.
Yeah, you can't just like switch, or the audio is attached to the live.
The audio is attached to this one. Or
Tess is learning how to do this for the big show on Wednesday and Thursday.
Hopefully it goes well. Best way to learn is through application. We're
bringing along Brian because we're going to switch between this selfie stick view and then also this shoulder mount view. Hey Facebook, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Tess is watching the YouTube chat, just so you know. And how's it going there, Tess? You ready to go on a walk?
Good, let's do it. Hi, Kyle J, LiveU, John, Jordan, Mark, Larry. Remember, we're only able to chat on YouTube, monitoring one chat today.
I'm going to hit the lock button. I don't have, I have keys. All right, we're good.
Hit that lock button.
All right, so this is test number one. This is like kind of a personal test for me. A lot of StreamGeeks, we like to do a lot of testing. How do we like the selfie stick view, if you will?
It's our first time using one.
I have a 6-foot HDMI cable, so in the back, basically above my butt, is a backpack full of gear. And you can see that, well, we can look at it. I mean, the test can happen from the... We're relying on you guys to let us know what you guys think about the quality, about what's going on. But this is the view of the selfie stick. And it's pretty well stabilized. This camera does a great job of this. And then we're going to switch to a view, which is the shoulder-mounted view right here. And Brian's going to wear the backpack. We're going to see how that works. We're going to go get some coffee. And by the way, when we go into the coffee store, I definitely want to have it like on the shoulder view. Like, because it's like a little bit more inconspicuous.
We definitely need to test that transition too.
Yeah.
Between the selfie stick to the shoulder view.
Well, that's the other thing. So basically, I'm going to be live streaming a trade show. And we think from a marketing perspective, live streaming trade shows is a great way to amplify your business's presence at a trade show.
Okay.
What do you think? Does it look good?
Yeah, looks good. Okay. Sounds good. Just wanted to verify that before moving forward. Remember, we're only chatting on YouTube for those of you watching on Twitch and Facebook.
So we're a little worried about the transition from, this selfie stick and the shoulder strap, because if the HDMI signal does get, kinked or whatever, the cable pops out, our feed will drop for a moment. Now, luckily, since we are using a cloud server, if the feed does die, we have a redundancy backup screen that you guys would hopefully not have to see. But if you do see it, it just says, hey, we'll be back in a second. So the stream won't actually die.
Right, and that's why being live with our live audience is so important, because you guys can let us know in the chat if you're not seeing us anymore, and make sure that you do. Woo! Big truck.
Big truck. So that's one thing, and then the other thing that we're going to be doing today, so Facebook went down. This is the first time I've ever seen Facebook go down in my life.
I've ever seen this and hopped onto
You've been
Twitter
a social media manager for years now.
and verified that it was down for most, if not everyone. It wasn't just us.
Look at Twitter, search the hashtag Facebook down.
You'll see our posts.
Yeah, you'll see that
many others, but it was funny.
There was some really, really funny comments like, today will be the most productive day in U.S. history.
Yeah. Facebook is down.
Facebook is down.
Let us know in the chat if you noticed that.
Yeah.
You can think of why.
If you aren't on Facebook 24/7 like we are, you might have missed it. I
was like, Paul, don't fire me, Facebook.
I was going to be a little upset because I was like, oh, we have a live show. We couldn't retrieve our secret RTMP key.
Right.
And we were just like, what's going on here?
Hey, Jeremy, Marco,
hey guys.
Wilfitz, Larry J, Jeremy, lots of J names today.
Okay, guys, we'll find a little bench over here to do our transition. So on the tour today,
a bit fisheye, but good. Yeah, we're kind of close up.
We are a little close up.
With the selfie stick and this camera, it does give a little bit of a fisheye appearance because I think it's meant to have a very spanning.
I see.
Oh,
yeah, because it basically flips the camera. Like it probably looks better like that, like going forward. Probably looks a little easier to watch because you're not focusing on something that's so close.
Are we streaming in 720 or 1080?
We should be streaming in 1080.
What's the camera again? Sony.
This is the Sony. Can you read it off the side? It's like a freaking Sony is so
HDR AF300. Can they not think of like something sexier?
Couldn't it be the just Sony Action Cam and then Sony Action Cam 4K?
At the gaming place.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna go get coffee first, but there's two places we wanted to check out in our small town and open up a small conversation about. So there's a lot of weird things happening in this world. All right,
we're using the microphone that's on this camera.
Yes,
somebody asked that.
With a windscreen in case it gets windy. But it's a crazy world we live in. You know, here we are, people are looking at us funny because we're live streaming as we walk down the street, but we also live in a world where Donald Trump won the election by spending $100 million on Facebook. That's a fact, right? So it's a crazy world. So we're gonna get some coffee, talk about Facebook being down for the first day ever, but also we're gonna stop by the very first esports and gaming place in Westchester. And then I don't know if we're going to stop by, but there's a virtual reality place in our small town as well.
How have we not been there yet?
So it's just crazy, the things that are happening. Now here's the part where hopefully you guys won't get too dizzy about this. We're gonna switch the camera to the shoulder mount.
All right.
You just talk to the camera, I guess.
Okay. So this is an interesting transition. Hopefully this isn't too visually obtrusive. Visually obstructing.
There, okay.
There we go.
First time ever doing this.
Try and make this as smooth as possible.
Would I be able to do this by myself?
Let us know if you also lose the camera feed. But you'll never be by yourself. Can
you spin it on there?
Can't I just toggle this thing?
No, you gotta spin the bottom.
Are you sure?
Yeah, just spin it a little.
Got it.
You got it on there?
Yeah, you don't have to spin it. You just have to make sure you work it in that thing. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you had to spin the toggle at the bottom. All right.
The toggle at the bottom.
Now, Brian.
Not the whole camera. Now let's test the look of this.
All right, Brian. Dun, dun, dun.
And let me make sure that we are in fact still live.
There's your second one there. And then I'm just going to wrap these cables up closely into here.
Remember, we're only chatting on YouTube. Head to StreamGeeks YouTube channel if you want to say something to us.
Okay.
Shoulder view reminds me of a pirate's parrot. It is like a pirate's parrot. Maybe you can camouflage with a stuffed one. That would be very funny, especially at like a Renaissance fair or something like that. Let us know that we have not lost connection and that you can see us perfectly.
All right, I think we're good.
I just want to double check on how this view looks.
Alright.
Okay, yeah, we didn't lose connection at all.
Alright, great. Okay, now we're just going to grab some quick coffee. And here, let me just do one more little thing here. It looks like it needs to go over a little more still.
A little tilted, but we are IRL streaming right now, so get a good quick release system.
I know, we need a better quick release.
Using Brian as a voice-activated light stick.
Check out this car.
Oh, you guys get to hear Brian's voice, which is famous in this area. Oh, look, perfect. Well, I guess I get to see that. Interesting vehicle.
What kind of car is this? A Jaguar?
1953 Jaguar XK120 Coupe. Okay.
Look at the coupe. Beautiful. That's the air conditioner.
Really?
The owner's manual actually called like the heater air conditioner.
What's that?
In the owner's manual, they actually called the heater air conditioner because they didn't have air conditioning. They were manually practiced.
I could get a selfie with it.
You?
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta try that.
What year is it again? The 53?
This is like a classic coffee place.
Quintessential Westchester coffee.
Quintessential. I don't feel like having a cup. They have cupcakes. I'm not going to have one. You can have one.
Kathy's Coffee Bar. Let's go. I'm not going to have it. I feel like I have to because we're on the show, but I really think it's our
So we have cookies and cream, banana Nutella, vanilla party cake, double chocolate chip cookie dough, red velvet, vanilla, chocolate vanilla, salted caramel pumpkin, peanut butter blackout,
Pumpkin sounds
chocolate
good.
chip, and vanilla party.
Pumpkin sounds good. Velvet sounds good.
What is that double chocolate?
Peanut butter.
Oh, no. I like that one.
What is
What do
it?
you think? Is that a
Or
cookie
like
on
cookies
top?
and cream?
That is
That's
chocolate chip cookie dough frosting.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh.
Might have
We're
a
going to have
sold
to
on
get our
that one.
walk-in. All right, look, we don't
First
have
off-
time to mess around. Are you cool with that one?
Yeah.
That one of those, we're just going to share it. And three, you want a coffee?
Oh, no thanks.
2 coffees.
Do you want coffees to go?
To go. Everything to go, actually.
Everything? Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry.
While we're here, this place is really aesthetically pleasing and really cool. So let's go in here and check out this awesome wall. Brian, you gotta go like this so they can see the ceiling. Yeah.
What are the StreamGeeks? What are the StreamGeeks?
Wait till you see this bathroom. It's insane. It's Westchester. Let me turn the light on. I've been here before, so I know they have this here, which is cool. Come in, come in. This is just like, I love Westchester because this is the kind of cute little details that you see in the places here. They're dedicated to the town. They were on Cupcake Wars, Dia Dolce. And they won. So they've got some odes to that. Here's the heart of town, the old courthouse, and whatnot. Really cool feature to a small town coffee shop. The door's got all these sweet lyrics or poetry. Very cool. This is a great place to stop by. It's very aesthetic.
She's going to cut it in half for us. So from here, we're just going to show off the new e-gaming, e-sports place in town. We're going to try to... Oh, you know what? I know what it is. Can you... If you clip those, it'll stay centered. That's what it is. That should center it. Oh my god, I made it worse.
Have a great day, guys.
Never mind. Nope, that made it worse. Oh well. I know it's a little lopsided, but...
Have a great day.
Thank you. She cut it in half for us. Guys, no more sugar. We have to cook
We always tell her. Go look in that bathroom.
it. Look at this.
Paul, you have to go look in that bathroom while we're here. I already showed our guests. Nothing better than some fresh coffee.
Wow. I honestly think this is the best cupcake I've ever had. That's your half there. Alright.
Brian, I'll split my half with you.
Mm.
Paul forgot about Brian. Why
It's
are
all
you such a
good.
rush?
You can have it.
Polly, why are you in a rush?
I'm not. You're right.
Oh my god, that's good. That's good.
I know, it's amazing. That's the best cookie I've ever had.
Oh, baby.
There's cookie dough on top of a cupcake.
Really?
There's a place down the street that just sells cookie dough. Okay, now.
Alright, you want this?
Nice smooth angles.
I'm gonna eat more if I'm gonna have this coffee.
Oh, I got it. Alright, cool.
Alright. That's it, let's do it. Good.
Alright, let me just step my coat up.
Let me make sure that this looks normal. Where's yours?
I got it. Do you want it to chat on it?
Yes, I just want to see the visuals.
Are we good?
This must be the only town where the restroom is a bona fide tourist attraction. It's true. Petra, we are only chatting on YouTube. Yes, remember, we're only chatting on YouTube because
For an important reason, we're chatting on YouTube because you can just pop out the chat room, and that allows you to really reduce bandwidth. But we do have our phones on our hotspot that's feeding the LiveU Solo. The LiveU Solo has 3 connections. We have an Ethernet connection coming from our Nighthawk, which is a wireless cellular hotspot. We have 2 USB connections, one from Verizon and one from AT&T.
Troy said, can you repeat the choices? Oh, sorry I didn't see that, Troy.
I know.
I'll have a triple macchiato, please.
This is good coffee.
We just got plain coffee with cream and some sugar, which is good, really good coffee. I want to cover some questions before we move forward. Are we using 3 or 4 modems right now? 3 modems right now.
And it does grab Wi-Fi when we're in our office. It'll grab Wi-Fi.
Petra, of course, you could have a coffee or a cupcake if you come to visit. Yeah, I forgot that this place was on Cupcake Wars, and they won.
They were on Cupcake Wars.
We need a gimbal for the shoulder cam. It would be easy to hold a small camera to keep it level. Not bad considering you are transmitting from inside a building. Yeah. And then one person said this is the only town where a bathroom could be a tourist attraction.
I know.
The bathroom is so cool there.
It's a tourist attraction, but it's also a local attraction. Because it basically all the local things are on it. So what we'll do, this is the street that I live on, by the way.
Paul's house is right down that road, guys.
My house is right down there. We're not going to go there. I love living.
Careful, Polly. We should just run and go there.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to go to the other side of the road. I want to just peek into the new e-gaming place that's come to town. There's also a virtual reality place. I mean, and then the StreamGeeks are here. It's like turning into a little tech haven.
It is turning into a tech haven. Why they haven't called us yet, I don't know.
And it's not necessarily like a, and look where we are here, the computer doctors.
Gameplay TV, what's going on? How did we do our graphic overlays? We designed them in Photoshop as a PNG, and then uploaded them to Easy Live, our cloud-based server, which is how we are streaming with the LiveU, and we'll be streaming with our studio when we get back to the office.
We showed that a little bit. We showed it on multiple shows. We use it heavily because it allows you to mix as many RTMP streams as you want to.
Take this last bite so we can throw it out.
Oh, I love this. All right, great.
No arguments there by Paul.
The thing I love about Easy Live is that, like, what other service do you know of that you can stream between 2 different RTMP systems?
I was blown away when I heard we could actually do that. Is the camera really slanted? Let me know in the chat, because to my eye it looks slanted, but I don't know if that's just crazy.
I know. I tried moving it, but it just doesn't want to.
Do you know the cost of Easy Live and Felipe? I don't know if you're in the chat. That would be crazy. You're in France. It's probably, I don't know what time it is, but assuming it's nighttime.
Well, he lives in New York now.
Oh, he does live in New York. Felipe, if you're by chance in the chat. I don't know the pricing of Easy Life off the top of my head. Do you have any range for them?
It is more expensive than some of the OBS servers I've seen in the cloud. but it's going to be like $150 a month.
PTZOptics wearable camera. You gotta request
So there's a little store up here, and then the great thing is that by the time we get back, our guests should be connected via vMix call to our podcast, and we'll do a podcast. You know, so without interrupting our stream. You know, think about that from like an e-gaming perspective, where you could have like 5 or 6 different RTMP streams all mixed into one. Here's the esports. If you guys are looking to be a coach or an instructor or a gamer or an enthusiast, this is where you want to come. It looks like they got a lot of work to do. Everything's under construction. The economy's doing so well.
Whoa.
There's got like 3 new bars in this town. It's great.
I didn't realize it wasn't actually open yet. They've got a long way to go. Why don't you peek in the window so they can see what we're seeing too? Esports Gaming Center. We're
Yeah.
Paul.
I told you. Esports
Why do we not
gaming.
have cameras in here yet?
Oh, we'll talk to them.
We need to talk to them.
We'll talk to them.
This is like, would be the perfect place to do our table games.
Yes. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
have
I
to
don't know if
do-
you guys heard about that, but we are going to be live streaming like a table board game. We haven't nailed down which one yet. It's not going to be Dungeons and Dragons. I can't take that game. I like it, but I
But you
don't
can
have.
act and stuff. We would get into that.
You want to do that? That'd be fun, kind of.
I don't know. I don't know. I never played Dungeons and Dragons. Some of the guys at our work.
It could be kind of fun because everybody and their mother has played it at least once.
I haven't. I want to.
And Andy Chatfield, our lead support technician, he's like a dungeon master. So he is like, because there's always a dungeon master. Anyway, we gotta wait to cross here. I think we can cross.
I thought we were going to VR place. Petra, are you in America? 5.5 hour drive. This is a historic building that was recently renovated into a co-working space.
Great place to do co-working.
Get a quick look at the wallpaper that they have in here. Isn't that pretty?
Tess loves to do, or no, sorry, not Tess. This is where Brian gets his Eggs Benedict.
Oh yeah, this is the Eggs Benedict spot. If you're ever hearing about us talking about Brian and his breakfast, he takes breakfast very seriously. Look at the paintings on the wall there. This is cool stuff that they got to see, so they know that they got to visit our town because it's the best town.
Brian takes Brian makes like breakfast is like a sport for him.
This is where you get the gelato.
So, next, so the idea here is this is really, today is all about Tess. We want her to feel comfortable being a producer in the cloud. So
I'm a little
this whole
nervous.
Transition from a mobile stream to a studio stream is going to be very important for our giveaway. It's like
Essential.
there's going to be a lot of upset people if you look it up.
Can we look at this? Because I've been obsessed with this. They've actually made a
That is
skirt
cool.
out
That
of
is
maps. Brian, come here. So I don't know how well they can see it. How cool is that? I would rock that skirt.
That's a.
I'd be like, I'm such a world traveler.
Yeah.
Ah.
That would be so funny if you were like on a plane with that skirt on or something. Like just stuff
Harry,
going from
here we
here
come.
to like here.
This is a historic building in our town too. This is not supposed to be a Westchester tour. I don't know why I keep doing that.
If we cut down on the stops, we'll make it back in time for the podcast.
Where's the overview?
No. It's important for Tess to learn how this stuff works. So Tess actually set it all up, right? And if you think about it, there's a lot of moving parts, right? There's the Facebook stream, there's the YouTube stream, there's the Twitch stream. That's all outbound from the cloud, not from your typical streaming software, right? Because you're streaming from the cloud.
What's a learning curve for me is setting up all the custom RTMP streaming information into Easy Live, because you have to schedule the streams, pull the information, plug it back into Easy Live. But I will say, having had experience with other streaming software like Wirecast and vMix and OBS, the layout's similar, and if you know how to do them, it's user-friendly if you're familiar with that type of interface. Especially Wirecast. Easy Live looks similar to Wirecast to me in navigation and how things are set up.
So basically, there's 3 outputs: YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and there's 2 inputs, right?
Patrick said today's all about testing.
Yeah.
You know, that's my little test-ting. Testing.
So there's 3 outputs: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. There's 2 inputs. We've got our VMix studio, podcasting studio, and then we've got our live stream. Now the interesting thing, LiveU. The interesting thing about the LiveU is it's just one Sony camera, HDMI, bringing audio and video. So it's super simple. The image stabilization is great. When you get the VMix podcasting studio, we've got 4 microphones, multiple cameras, NDI sources. You have an X keys unit. You know, you got the full studio production. So there's a lot of different things to consider. It's a lot of moving parts. Anyone who's in the video production world knows it's a lot about building. So building a little bit here, building a little bit there, realizing you can do this, whether you're building your network, your Ethernet network, whether you're setting up multiple computers, whether you're setting up cameras. It's all like one step at a time, but bolting on something like this, a mobile stream to whatever you're doing, is very simple. We bought a backpack, we got a battery, we got an action cam, we bought a selfie stick, right? And I actually kind of like the selfie stick look.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to go back and watch it again, but by the way, if you're chatting on Facebook or Twitch, I will be going back once we get in the building and able to chat on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So I have only been on YouTube. Now we're approaching our office, where we call home.
All right. Now we're very close. And Daniel's waiting for us, so that's good.
From LiveU to talk about this type of experience. Luckily, it
just
seemed
got
to
back.
went very well.
Yeah, it seemed to go very well. He just got back from TwitchCon. After you.
Okay.
All right. Yes, Daniel's here. All right, Tess, you got to do everything. This is your test. You have to do all of that yourself with no help.
Well, do I have to end anything? Do you want
No,
me to end?
nothing needs to end. You just
Well,
have
let me
to
get my
transition.
laptop.
You get your laptop. This is just. I have to let Tess do this herself. Everything. So I'm just gonna go to the podcast, say hello to our
But I'm
guest.
not going to be using this studio
Hi,
next
Dan.
week. I'm going to be using,
Doing good. How about yourself?
probably I'm going to be using the other studio.
Right. Thanks, Daniel. We're switching over from our LiveU cloud server in just a moment. We switched over? All right,
Do
cool.
you want the overlay still?
No, you can get rid of the overlay. All right.
All right, Brian. Yeah.
The podcast has just about begun.
I don't think we're going to need to switch back to this.
No, we won't. We can turn all that off. Sorry. Big round of applause for Tess Protesto as she mixes in the cloud.
Ah.
Everyone is so proud of you, Tess.
Oh.
Including me.
My ability to press 2 buttons is very, very good.
That's hilarious. No, you're doing great. I really think you did good. I'm just touching up your audio a little bit, David. You want to get, or Dan, you want to give me some levels?
Sound good.
Sounding good. I'm just
Michael always puts his
going way
microphone
overkill for the
up right.
podcast and putting a EQ on you, and then we're going to start. How does he sound, everybody in the chat room? I'm just going to apply a very simple EQ and turn your gain down because you're just a little hot. But I think you're good.
Well, audio is working.
Yeah, you're good. All right. How's he sounding? Everybody, does he sound good?
Do we sound
He
good?
looks good. Nothing I can do to improve that, but you're already looking good, so we're good there. All right, Tess, I think we're golden, huh?
Yeah. You know that we were never live on StreamGeeks?
Really?
Or maybe we or on nope, I'm just kidding.
No, we are live on Twitch too. Okay,
We
good.
are.
All right. So,
all right.
everything's good?
We're good.
All right, then. We are ready to start the podcast. We have Dan with us. Daniel, how do you say your last name? I want to make sure I say it right.
Pisarski.
Pisarski. Pisarski?
Pisarski, yeah.
Pisarski. And
correct.
What is your title?
VP of Engineering for Americas with LiveU.
Wow.
Perfect. VP of Engineering.
For Americans.
For Americans.
It's true. We have another VP of Engineering in Israel that handles the rest of the world.
Wow. So you're kind of like the Matt Davis. That's what our audience knows Matt Davis as, like the engineer in charge.
That's me.
Nice. Very extremely much essential to operations.
All right. I believe that we should be all good in the hood. Is that right?
Yep.
Everybody say we sound okay?
You're good, Polly.
Okay, cool. All right. We're going to start the podcast. I'll hit the start button because I'm pretty close to it.
But I just want access.
Oh, you want access to it. Got it. All right. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the StreamGeeks podcast. We just finished a mobile live stream through our town using the LiveU Solo, and we have Dan Pisarski, the VP of Engineering for the USA.
That's right, for the USA of LiveU.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for having me.
So we just finished a tour of our town, and we were live broadcasting to the cloud and then restreaming to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Facebook went down today. Did you hear about that?
I did, yes. Down worldwide.
That was scary.
That's what I heard.
Wow. I didn't realize the extent was that far. It was scary. It gave me some anxiety.
I know. We had to turn to
I was like,
Twitch.
what's going on?
Someone on Twitter said, today will be the most productive day in U.S. history. No, but Dan, tell us a little bit about your role over there at LiveU, and then we have some questions we want to ask you about TwitchCon and the like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a VP of Engineering in the USA. That means that a lot of, on LiveU's news gathering side of the business, a lot of our largest customers in the United States, NBC News, Fox News, CNN, and they often have engineering related questions or new product ideas or things they want to discuss. And so I'm available to meet with them and then to also coordinate with our development teams, which are located around the world. One of the largest ones in Israel, of course, and I fly over to Israel and coordinate with them to give them that feedback from those US customers. But on the Solo side, I'm specifically the product manager in charge of Solo. So oversaw all of the development on the portal, the conversion of our existing news gathering firmware into the Solo firmware, all of the new that we've worked on for Solo, like the Twitch integration, where I oversaw as well. So that product's a little more personally mine, and I have more control over it.
Well, I'll tell you, we are in love with the LiveU Solo.
I know that
That's great.
you guys have done such a great job. And for those people listening on the podcast, on Spotify, maybe iTunes, may not know exactly what LiveU is or what the Solo is. I'm just going to try to break it down a little bit here, and you can maybe help me with this. But the Solo is probably one of the first really commercially budget-friendly streaming
That's the
devices
keyword.
That has really been just adopted by streamers all around the world for cellular bonding. I know that sounds like a really technical word, but essentially allowing you to have a Verizon and AT&T connection and connect them together, because we all know if you've tried to live stream with your phone, your data gets capped. You can't do a great stream. And then by using this LiveU Solo, you're able to get 3 megabit, 4 megabit, 5, even 6 to 8 megabit streams. And I read that 6 megabits per second is generally considered excellent quality. So it's the way to have excellent quality streaming from anywhere in the world, essentially.
Yeah, you described it very well.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg for what you're doing. But I kind of want to focus on the Solo and that space, the Twitch space. I know you just got back from TwitchCon.
I did.
And I think a lot of the world is oblivious, not everybody, but a lot of us, even myself, to how massive this Twitch online esports gaming industry really is because of how quickly it's grown. If you're not in that space, if you're not monitoring it, I don't think you have an idea of what's going on over there. So you just got back from the Twitch conference. Can you tell us a little bit about what you saw over there?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was our first TwitchCon. It was my first TwitchCon and first TwitchCon as a company. And I think it's safe to admit now we went in a little underprepared in a way because we had in our minds different size conferences, different level conferences, and we just weren't ready for how many people were at TwitchCon at the San Jose Convention Center. I mean, you could tell right from the first day, the lines were wrapped around all the way around the block like 2 times just to get your badge.
Ooh.
And so from the very beginning, we were like, boy, this is way bigger than even we had in mind, and we were excited to be there and thought it was going to be big. So it was a crazy show, huge. They said they sold out. They had to make adjustments to get everybody inside. And so the first day, there was a lot of long lines to get your badge, to get through security, to get inside. So you just tell from all of the chaos, even from the very start, just how big this Twitch community has become.
And how many IRL streaming backpacks did you see?
So because of security rules, you couldn't bring your own backpack through security. But we had both Twitch and some of our partners there help out by getting, using their influence to get backpacks through security ahead of time. And then some of the biggest IRL streamers were able to use those backpacks on site. So even with the sort of limited view of like not every single person who wanted to bring a backpack could, everywhere you turn, there was somebody with an IRL backpack on. I mean, we certainly saw one every moment of each day. Everywhere you walked around the show floor, there was somebody streaming.
Yeah, and are these customers with these type of backpacks LiveU solo customers, or are they, going for the LU 300, 200, all that good stuff?
By and large, solo. Asking us about the 300 because there's a little bit of excitement there around HEVC and 4K, and
right.
We certainly have plans for that long term with solo as well. But yeah, for the most part, that's what the recommended build is. It's what Justin Gunrun from Twitch recommended his original build to sort of kind of launch this IRL excitement on Twitch, and it's what everybody uses.
Justin Gunrun?
Justin Gunrun, Ignacio
put
is
that
his
in my
name.
notes.
So he was one of the original. It was like employee number 2 at Twitch. I don't want to give him a full background and get it incorrect, but it was employee number 2 at Twitch, and has always been a big fan of this IRL style streaming. And then even after the Amazon acquisition, had pushed for more of that content on the platform, had experimented with a lot of different setups, and then found the LiveU Solo. It was the price point he was looking for. It certainly was the functionality he was looking for, and became very excited by it. And he's been a huge help to LiveU and to me in terms of popularizing this, showing us what we could improve to serve this community better, showing us how this community worked in general. So he's just been a great friend.
So, and I think it's a genius idea to take what looked like to me an online gaming platform, generally based on gaming, and try to get people out of their bubbles into the real world, and still kind of, I feel like and forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, but a nerdy kind of, and that's not a bad thing, like the nerd style, gamer style approach, just the lifestyle of it, and get that out into the world. I think that's something that's really interesting. The demographics are huge, not just for advertisers, but also for just the world in general. They have the youth, right? They've got the young men in general. There's not as many women as men on this platform, but they've got the young men, and they've got them in between the ages of 12 to 40. I mean, that is a very highly coveted group of people to be marketing to. Now, I know that there are things that are bringing more women in. There are things that are bringing people who aren't even maybe interested in games onto the platform. I know that's kind of a goal for Amazon. But tell me about the demographic a little bit. I mean, you were there at ground zero, if you will. What was it like over there? What type of people were you interacting with mostly?
I mean, for sure, especially coming from a older gentleman like myself, it was a young crowd, right? We were prepared for that part. We knew it would be a young crowd, and it's definitely a lot of fun being there. I mean, I hate to make myself sound even older, but you pick up a certain amount of energy and fun from the crowd when it's a crowd like that. But I would go so far as to say, once you're there at TwitchCon, the mix, like male to female, is much more even than you think it's going to be. It's not a sea of young men. It is more of a mixed crowd. And certainly, I think that without having any real stats to back it up, just my own anecdotal observation, that IRL is part of what's evening that out. Although there's a lot of girl gamers out there, and that's fantastic. But certainly, as we met some of the IRL creators that we had known only through Twitch or through their social media before in person, you get to see how there is this diversity in IRL, where you've got some of the older people that we met there at Twitch, and I feel comfortable saying that because I'm older myself, so I think they would agree, and a lot of the female streamers as well are all interested in this IRL content. So
yeah, I think it's very interesting what's going on just around all over the map. Can you give us a sense of just to kind of lay the landscape here for people who are just getting into this, or maybe seeing, I don't know if they're seeing a business opportunity, maybe it's the entertainment value in this Twitch thing. I'd highly suggest anybody out there to just go on Twitch. And it sounds crazy. You might even, if you're an older person, you might wonder, why am I just watching all these random people play video games? Like, that's what it was like for me. I'm not going to lie. I was like, because I'm not even really that into gaming. So I'm like, I was drawn to the more IRL streamers. That was instantly for me. So I think that's definitely the path forward for Twitch to get a larger audience outside of gaming. That's more interested in streaming. I think they're doing it in a great way. But I got attached to very quickly, like the do-it-yourselfers, people who are making things, people who are like fully on camera, like a full 1080p view of like an action cam, if you will, as opposed to most of what you'll see on there is a full video game being played and a small picture of somebody. And even though that's the majority of what's out there, I was personally drawn to something else. So I would encourage everybody to just get on there. It feels like, I'm not going to say like the dark web, but it definitely doesn't feel like, like YouTube, right? It doesn't feel like YouTube at all. And I would like to ask you a little bit about that. Like, how is it differentiating itself from the major players, YouTube, Facebook, and I mean, those are the two dominant ones right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to generalize from my own perspective here. I don't work for any of those companies, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think that a platform like YouTube, which obviously has been around for a long time, really, in a way, kind of started this whole, what we think of as like the creator space that Twitch plays a big role in now, is a very view-centric platform. It came from a era when the idea of, I'm going to go to this webpage and I'm going to view this video, and that's the primary thing I'm doing. And then maybe after I'm done viewing it, I'm going to go look at all the comments or look at other interaction that happened with this video. Twitch started from an era where that interactivity of what are other viewers who are watching us right now think about it, or what are they doing, or what do they want the person who's streaming to do. Twitch began in an era where that was already possible technically and popular. So the community aspect of it, really meaning as simple a technology as the chat room and the interactive chat that's going on live while people are streaming, is built right into Twitch. It's a key front element in Twitch, and I think it's part of what a lot of the people that make that transition to Twitch are really excited about. YouTube, of course, has live chat now, but it was sort of added on later, and it's still not front and center in terms of the view experience. So they're catching up a little bit there, but it's not quite the same as where Twitch is. And on the streamer side, Twitch has a very different monetization model. And again, I don't want to misrepresent it or misstate something, so best to go, look directly on those two sites. But Twitch allows viewers to directly reward streamers through almost like donations through gifts, and that means that you can have a overall smaller but more dedicated audience on Twitch, and as a creator still make money. Where on YouTube, it's still very much the sort of large advertising model. I can make a lot of money, but I need a large audience to do that, and YouTube shows them ads and then compensates the creator based on the ad revenue.
Okay, yeah, and I totally agree with you there. And I think that's really an interesting thought that, you know, YouTube has been around for so long. They defined this space for the creators. Now, that's an interesting thought as well. Are creators leaving YouTube, or is this a totally new space that the creators on YouTube aren't leaving? They're just totally new people that maybe were just gamers. I think that's I mean, because I'm seeing this from an outside view. We just took a walk down our street. There's esports. There's a new esports company opening up 2 blocks away from our office. I see these esports just growing so much. So is this just a totally new genre? There's got to be some meld over, but I guess because Twitch is live first, are these completely different people than we're used to seeing on YouTube?
I think it's a mix of both. So definitely, I think what you're saying is true. That Twitch brought in a whole new style of streamer that wasn't able to do it on YouTube or wasn't interested in doing it on YouTube, and now have kind of captured people that just never even thought about going to YouTube first. They went straight to Twitch, and they love Twitch, and they'll stay there. But you did have a significant shift in the YouTube rules. I guess it was probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago now. After some of the larger advertisers had some issues with the style of content that was on YouTube, their ads were being played before content they later considered, not acceptable or not in line with their company values, and they pulled out of YouTube after that. And YouTube made some pretty drastic changes to their advertising rules or their monetization rules after that. And again, not working for Google myself, just hearing all of this kind of secondhand, like a lot of us in the industry, heard a lot of streamers did in fact leave the platform after that. A lot of the smaller streamers left the platform after that, and they were looking for a platform that catered to smaller streamers, and Twitch does, again, because of the direct monetization options they have.
Yeah, they're doing such a better job at monetization, and I don't think it's just about the money either for a lot of viewers. I think the audience for specific content is just unique. We've been streaming on Twitch for not a year, maybe 6 months. And it's interesting to see how people will donate and subscribe. Not something that we did not consider at all. It's not at all our goal to do that. But they get a badge in the chat room, and that's important to them. It is kind of fun to see those people who actually are, that important. And for those of you who are just joining, we have Dan Pizarski from LiveU. He is the lead engineer for the USA market. And
I apologize to Dan and anybody in our audience because we were sending an NDI feed to Easy Live, but we didn't realize the whole time that we were sending the wrong feed, and it was a close-up of me for the first 10 to 15 minutes of this podcast. I'm so sorry.
I don't know if you remember, but I was like, Tess, this is all you today.
I know, that's my fault. You
gotta check all your.
I was looking at the screen in front of me is showing what we were supposed to have been sending, and so it's like, okay. And then I'm looking at my chat on my computer. I'm like, why is this close up of me not going away? And then I would look back. I was like, oh my god.
I didn't even know because I was just directing as if
humiliated. I'm so sorry.
Anyway, sorry guys. On the podcast, you guys have no idea, but this is an interesting thing, and I've been hearing a lot about video podcasting. That's what we're doing now, and I'm hearing a lot about it from the YouTubers we talk to, hearing a lot about it from the people on Twitch as well. I'm interested to know, and this is a little bit just for personal thoughts, is, we talked about IRL, and I'd like to dig a little bit deeper into that. Can you give us some examples of some cool IRL people? What are they doing? And then Claudia was telling us all was telling us all about board games and live streaming board games. And there's this
table games.
Yeah, because board game that's outdated. Is an interesting thought too. And there's card games, and so esports, when streaming is introduced, makes, a card game an esport. Like, is chess an esport now? It's like one of the oldest games that we play around here in this country, and it's being streamed now. So does that make it esports? So let's start with the IRL question, Dan. What's the craziest thing that you've seen IRL streamed? What is everybody talking about over there?
So there's definitely a mix of content on IRL, which is one of the things that makes it great. We have at least 2 IRLers that have bungee jumped wearing the backpack, live streaming during the whole jump. And that was pretty exciting and pretty wild. And at TwitchCon, we heard a number of people talking about working on plans for skydiving with the backpack and how they were going to accomplish that. But it doesn't all have to be that kind of like daredevil stuff either. There's one streamer out there, Das Valdez, who does all rocket launches. So he's got press access to SpaceX and NASA, and he's present for each one of the SpaceX launches and just covers all the components of the rocket launch, including some great interviews with people inside NASA. So you can have this whole realm of content from just walking around the streets and kind of doing some crazy things there, or maybe interacting with the chat room to find out what they want you to do in terms of your time spent. Sometimes that's in an exotic location like Tokyo. Sometimes that's just, around here in the US, cities that we know, all the way up to bungee jumping, to fishing, to rocket launches. So it's a mix of, you can find everything from nice, calming, just learning content up to, we're going to jump out of a plane today.
From an engineering standpoint, when it comes to LiveU, is there any juicy secrets you can give us for 2019 or upcoming that you'd like to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So we haven't been very public on the plans with it yet, but we've been working hard on a companion application for Solo for your smartphone that will bond the 2 radios in the smartphone. So you have a Wi-Fi radio and an LTE radio in your phone, and the operating systems allow you to use both at the same time, although it's not a feature that's often used by many apps. So we'll bond both radios, and then you can get a 2 connection stream going just from your phone, from the camera on your phone. So for the people that either really want to stream from their phone, which fits some use cases very specifically, versus the sort of body cam or action cam that you would normally plug into your Solo, or for people just looking for an even easier way to kind of get started and then grow as their stream grows. So if it's your very first time doing IRL or any kind of stream, then maybe even though we think that of the Solo is very economical, maybe it looks like a little bit of a large investment to you at first. So get started streaming on the phone and then grow into something more sophisticated. So that should be launching, barring a few problems. Every new engineering project has its challenges. It should be launching very soon.
Well, that sounds excellent.
And then I wanted to go to, and that does sound awesome, and it breaks you into an even larger market that's beyond people who can afford your already budget level items like the Solo, which starts at under $1,000. But I want to ask you about these board games, tabletop games that are being streamed. If that was a big push, I think that the big thing about Twitch, so Twitch has a lot of power. When people were asking about how big Twitch is going to be, I said, look at your Amazon Prime delivery. You see that advertisement for Twitch on the tape? Literally, I mean, imagine how many boxes Amazon ships every year or every day. And they're advertising it to every single person that gets it. Imagine how much information they have about people that buy video game type stuff or even technology stuff. It's incredible. I mean, Alexa's listening to everybody's conversations as we, right now, and they're probably they are literally allowed to use that information to retarget to consumers. It kind of freaks. I bought my dad an Alexa, and he was like, "Don't turn that thing on."
Oh my
But anyway, I love it because I get to turn on music from the bathtub.
Music, yeah.
But and alarms and reminders or whatever. But remember, that's connected to Amazon owns that, and then they can use that information to grow Twitch. And the point that I'm getting to here is that it seems like an initiative, whether it's from, I heard this guy Justin Gunrun, but I know there's others out there in charge of this. They want to broaden it from just gamers, but I think that they understand, and I know they have marketing people talking about this. If they simply just leave they're not going to leave the gamers, and if they go vanilla like YouTube is, they're going to lose the potency of what they've built. So they can't go completely vanilla and make it a place for everybody. So I don't see churches live streaming on there. Although I did have a church want to live stream on Twitch in order to get younger men involved in the church. And I thought, hey, if you can do it, why not? If they're going to do it, it probably should be IRL, in real life streaming, behind the scenes at their church or at some type of community event, for example. But what I'm getting at is somebody over there is interested in pushing the agenda of IRL. And it seems like the magic sauce of this is where Twitch can really start bridging gaps between the real world that we all live in, creators, and streaming, right? I mean, that's like the intersection there. Streaming the real world, letting through the creator's lens of it's their view of the world, and it's so interactive with the chat room, so everyone's along for the ride. That seems like the bridge to all kinds of new content on Twitch. It does have its own category, but it's not a huge category when you look at it in scale of what's going on with Fortnite is the really big gaming game that's out there now, but there's others. It's not humongous on the scale of things, yet you're seeing huge growth in that space. So even if you have a small category, and it's not a tiny category, but it's a small category in comparison to the gaming leagues that they have and everything. It's not like there's like in real life streamers going to battle and there's like a championship going on, but it's smaller than the gaming, but that's still seems to be a big community, right? Can you give us an idea of how big is this community? Is it growing? Are there people at Amazon pushing this agenda because of its ability to bridge streaming and gaming with other communities and audiences?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, we don't have access to any numbers other than I think what are already published out there, and don't have any way to really verify them beyond anybody else that's reading the same articles. But for instance, we've heard the number of live broadcasts per day on Twitch stated as between 1 and 2 million live broadcasts every day. We've also, according to a report just put out by Stream Elements, who's one of the companies, one of two or so companies that really is involved heavily as a sort of third party in the Twitch world, not part of Amazon, that IRL is the fastest growing category on Twitch and is now the number 3.
Oh my gosh! So I was way off. I'm sorry. So I'm way off.
Yeah.
So it's number 3.
Fast. So apparently it was.
Because I was looking at
Q1 of this year, it was smaller, and by this Q, it was.
What do you want to see?
Pull up the in real life category on Twitch. I had no idea it was that large. I apologize because maybe I was even looking at the wrong thing.
Numbers.
No, I believe you. You just got back from TwitchCon. That's incredible, and that's what I wanted. That's what I want to hear. I mean, that's exactly what I want to hear. That's incredible. So, and I think it would be fun for us to just. Okay, I see. So IRL is not just a single category. It actually represents.
They just recently split it up. It got so large that they felt the need to split the category up.
So that's what happened because.
Yeah.
That's what happened. It got so it's a monopoly. We have to split these people up. So go back one, Sess. I want to read off the categories that this includes. So because it's an interesting. So this includes just chatting, which is where that's where we are now on Twitch. Talk shows and podcasts, music and performing arts, food and drink.
Maybe we should be here.
Maybe we should be there.
Are we not?
Podcast. Maybe we're in one of those. And then just keep going.
We're in talk shows and podcasts.
Okay. We're in talk shows and podcasts.
Food and drink.
Food, and this is in order of popular. ASMR
is its own category.
It's its own category. That's the people with the ears that are talk into the ear microphones. That's an interesting one to check out, by the way. This is probably, in my opinion, if you don't like gaming, or if, let's say gaming's not your thing, this is where you'll probably find something that's incredibly interesting.
Yes.
Special events.
Right away, I clicked beauty and body art.
There's beauty and body art. There's travel and outdoors.
Science and technology.
Making and creators. Check out that special events one. And then there's sports and fitness.
Special events. That might be a good place for some of our audience members.
For some of the things that we do. Yeah. So that is, okay. So it got so big that it got split up into like 10 categories. That's why I wasn't able to find it.
Exactly right. Yep.
Interesting. So it's the third largest category, technically, if it was still a category, of one of the largest content delivery networks in the planet, Twitch. And I call it a content delivery network. I don't call it a social media network because while it is very social, it doesn't. Facebook has really defined what social media network is to me, and that is a place where you can kind of post, share, have a page. You don't need to be a broadcaster to be a part of a social media network. You just need to connect. So I call it more of a content delivery network, meaning they're just delivering live streams to viewers. Yeah. So tell me about these board games. I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time today.
No.
But I'm interested in these tabletop games. So we talked about IRL, people just streaming all kinds of different things. Amazon Twitch is not only is it blowing up, it's growing up. And what I mean by that is maturing, getting beyond gaming. And
LiveU seems to be leading the way
LiveU
for those possibilities as well.
Totally become the creators go-to item, which I think you guys have done great in the influencer space. You guys have done great. And your influencer marketing story is incredible. Claudia has told me a little bit about it. Kudos to you there.
Thank you.
Doing great. I mean, the products are amazing. Your marketing is stellar. And did you hear at all about these tabletop games where people are wanting to live stream Dungeons and Dragons? There's this humongous community of people who play tabletop games, and they feel as though they're part of this Twitch community, which I think is great. I think that's why Twitch is doing so well. Is as soon as you get on, it's incredible how you'll get some live viewers, even if you have like no community. Like they'll come somehow. Our intern's girlfriend quit her job and just streams to Twitch now.
Nice.
And can make enough money to do that. But I'm interested in these board games because I think not only can our companies work together to do that, our entire support team is a bunch of gamers, Dungeons and Dragons gamers, and they actually really want to do this. So we're thinking about doing like a multicam live stream of this and maybe use a LiveU solo to stream it. But okay.
I think it's a perfect fit.
Tell me about it.
So I've played Dungeons and Dragons my whole life, certainly a long-time D&D player. And, I think the interesting part about this story is that Dungeons and Dragons has had the largest year ever, according to Wizards of the Coast, who now publishes it, even accounting for changes in the value of the dollar for inflation from back in the launch in the late 60s and early 70s. So, and that they attribute a lot of that. This is the comeback of tabletop D&D with live streaming. There was a couple of very notable show names that started out streaming Dungeons and Dragons and then just got larger than anybody, including the creators, even really expected them to. So names like Critical Role would be the primary example there, and you can find their episodes on many different platforms. So Twitch is one of them. So they came along. They started streaming these games. Sometimes with personalities that people wanted to tune into. Sometimes it's with unknowns, and you just love the game so much and the story that they're telling that it's interesting. And like you said, with Twitch, you get that interactivity of the chat room. You get people to feel like they're sort of part of the game because they can interact with other viewers or even with the players as they're going. It's just been huge. So now we see companies like Wizards of the Coast investing more and more in how do we get even more people streaming. I mean, it follows a little bit the kind of model that e-gaming itself followed, which is you had the very, call it cream of the crop streaming in the beginning, or at least the early streamers who became the very largest. And now you've got a lot of interest from everybody because really with tabletop gaming, there has always been a hardcore fan base that never went away out there. And now that these games are all having a renaissance, those have just gotten larger. So just as one example, many towns still have a local hobby shop. I know even the little town in Jersey I live in still has a hobby shop where people play Dungeons and Dragons on Wednesday nights and Pokemon, the card version on Thursday nights and Magic the Gathering on Friday nights. Yeah. And so now each one of those shops, each one of those players is interested in, can we get streaming? And I absolutely think that solo and PTZOptics and, their multi-camera shoots all have a fit there. People are going to want to go start small and do a single camera shoot and then graduate to a multi-camera shoot. They want to hear all the technology that it takes to kind of put that together. And the great news about any story like that, I mean, it's true for all streaming today, is that the technology it takes to put all that together is so much easier now than even just a few years ago. So you can do like a great multi-camera shoot for not, $100,000. You can really, knock that way down into the easy budgets.
Yeah, the combination of being more powerful and, well, more affordable and more powerful. So Twitch
Yeah.
comes along, opens it up. And then the interesting thing that I've seen out there, and we'll wrap this up soon. I know I've taken up a lot of your time today, but the interesting thing that I've seen on Critical Role and some of these tabletop board games making their renaissance is the user interactivity on Twitch. And it's so interesting to me. So I was looking at Twitch and I was watching, I think it was Critical Role. It could have been another one. And the comments were coming on the screen. Okay, that's not the world's most amazing thing, but I know that a lot of the streamers are using something called Streamlabs that opens up a lot of doors. And what they were able to do is set a minimum donation to have the comments read to them in their ears. So it's almost like a podcast setup. In fact, this is where we're thinking about doing our tabletop gaming.
Was that the show that we were watching in there?
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of things to respond to there, Dan, on this topic. One is I cannot wait to do a multi-camera shoot of a Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, who knows, maybe not Pokemon, but I have some old Magic cards I can't wait to get out of the attic. I think that you have to have at least 2 down shots, right? Because you got to show the whole board. And you really have to show the whole board from like 2 different sides so that, you know, it's always at least 2 sides, you know, with sometimes it's 4 sides, but let's go with at least 2 overheads to really show a good view of the tabletop. And then we think at least 1 camera behind every 2 players so that you can kind of see over the shoulder their viewpoint. We really want to do this up. I think we have a great chance to do that.
You guys were going to do something similar at TwitchCon, right?
We had a lot of plans for TwitchCon, so and many of them came off great, and that was through Claudia and her team's big efforts to get that done. We did sponsor a cosplayer who made it to the booth in costume,
awesome,
things like that. But yeah, the D&D game unfortunately fell apart over scheduling right at the last minute. So
well, let's get you guys some cameras, and next year at TwitchCon, we can reschedule the table game with the LiveU solo. Yes. Or whatever LiveU unit you guys want to use with PTZOptics cameras.
Yeah, we definitely are very interested in coming along for the Twitch ride. And hopefully I've asked our team that before the end of this year, we will have a really cool multi-camera live streaming setup here where we stream a Dungeons and Dragons style case study ride there. Maybe we'll even look at working with one of the local hobby shops.
Yeah, there's an e-gaming place opening up around the corner we were talking about earlier. We could try with them.
But the e-gaming is like the digital world, and we're talking about...
You don't think they'll have any kind
potentially... Well, maybe they will. But
we'll see.
But I love the analog flavor of going out and trying something new. And so yeah, there's that. And then, and then the last thing was, so what they were doing is that they were showing the comments on the screen, but the cool thing about it is that the comments would read. They had I guess some type of computer AI system, not AI, but they had some type of computer system that if the chat was included with a $10 donation or monetization in the chat room. So I don't know if that was bits. I know the basically bits is the currency of Twitch. So if you give 100 bits, I think that's $1. Mm-hmm. If you give 1,000 bits, that's $10. So I think if you give 1,000 bits and you read a message, it would actually read the message into all of the players' headphones and they would respond to it. And I just thought that was a genius way to monetize the gaming efforts. And I'm looking at this and it's just like $10, $10, $10, and money's flying through.
You're like, wow.
Did you talk to anybody at all about the type of money people are making doing this?
We have a little bit. I mean, it's kind of the unasked question across it. You don't want to ask too many of your streamers, like, well, what level are you?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've definitely heard some stories. One example on a 72-hour long, which is an extreme example, IRL stream, but I guess the streamer at the time made $20,000 for the stream.
So in 3 days.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And I mean, I think that's probably like a peak on the high end of like, whoa, they're making a ton of money. And I think on average, like we've done a stream where we've made like $10, and of course we're not even trying, we're a tiny thing, but we've also accumulated and this is just like this would be for like somebody who has just wants to stream on Twitch, not trying to do this for a full-time job, just seeing what's going on. We went out, we've been streaming. we might actually have like 5 or 10 people subscribe to us, and that's a $5 subscription a month. Maybe it's $10. So there's a possibility that we might actually be making like $50 to $100 a month on Twitch with no plan. And we stream regularly.
By the way, we always put that money back into
that
marketing effort.
I don't even know where that money goes, to be completely honest. It's not enough money to be like trying to like
on
call
YouTube,
Amazon and be like, where's my money? But I have no idea where it goes, to be honest. But if you're trying and you do have a big following, and like these guys that have 1,000, 10,000 people watching, and the $10 are coming in every 5-10 seconds, I mean, this is like a racket. Like, geez. Sure. And it's just too interactive. It's too easy to be like, it's too good to have that user interactivity where you're like, I almost wanted to pay $10 just for them to read something funny into their ears while they're playing this in-depth Dungeons and Dragons game, and it's like absolutely the dumbest thing ever, but people like it, and it's incredible. And that's where we'll kind of wrap it up. I mean, it's a rabbit hole to go into to try to figure it out. Dan has given us like a ton of information to think about, great insights. A lot of other people are making money through other forms, like subscriptions to other things on top of the Twitch exposure. But in general, it's a great place to make money. If you're an advertiser, it's becoming one of the best places to place your advertisements to get in front of young men. In that, that's like that's where someone at Amazon was really smart, because that's like the coveted demographic. It's like if you can get a young man, and just for example, like that's 18 or 22 or something, to buy your brand watch or your brand this or that, that's that like influential time in their lives where they might become a lifelong customer. And also, if you read the demographics in on Amazon and what they say to advertisers about Twitch, is that it's gamers, and this might sound odd. I'd love to get your opinion on this, but the audience on Twitch is, they say, generally higher educated than your normal demographic, generally higher paid, and there's a whole list of things. I remember we were reading it in one of our shows, but it was really interesting. They're saying like, we not only have the young people, but we have the technologically advanced people, if you will, like generally veterans, more technically advanced, generally higher educated, generally make more money than their counterparts in the same demographic. So like Amazon's like, we've got the cream of the crop audience here of your target audience. But I don't think they like ads.
I think they love Twitch, though. I mean, you could definitely see that at the show, right? Back to the lines in the beginning all the way through the whole course of the show, and just how excited people were on the show floor. It is a very passionate crowd. You can definitely see that, and they love this platform. So I could see where that type of dedication is a little different than sort of clicking into, not to kind of pick on YouTube, but clicking into a YouTube video and just getting a random, car ad fired at you. To be on Twitch and to kind of really feel like part of that community. If then that community says, hey, this type of gamer keyboard or this gamer chair is a great buy, that probably means a ton. So
it does. That's you hit the nail on the head there. But that's, I don't think, what Amazon wants people to know, but that's the truth, is that it's going to come down to the influencers themselves getting sponsored, and those deals generally go directly from the company to the influencer individual there. Advertising on Twitch is going to be interesting. How they if you're advertising a video game, that's obviously the perfect place to be.
Right.
If you're selling a gaming chair, yeah, probably the perfect place to be. If you're trying to sell a watch or a consumer item that's not 100% tied to e-gaming and esports, it's going to have to, like, if you're trying to sell, who knows what, a LiveU Solo even. Well, you guys might actually be able to do that, but ideally the influencers are going to have that pull there. They're in the community. They're the ones that are really the trusted experts over there. But anyway, you hit the nail on the head there, Dan. Thank you so much for joining. That's our show. We had so much fun, and you guys are the best watching on Twitch. Thanks so much. And
see your team, some of them at WFX. Paul will.
Yeah, we'll see George at WFX next week, or this week.
Okay.
This week.
Thanks so much, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank
Great
you.
job over there.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay. That was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can't believe that I was on the completely wrong picture.
Yeah,
of myself the whole time.
that was a little. And that went on for like 15 minutes or so.
Mhm.
Because I remember Dan was in like a very Dan was in like the explaining YouTube versus Twitch, and you were like, "All right, like come over here and like fix this," and I'm like, "I need to like listen to."
No,
what he's saying
I
right
wasn't
now."
asking you to fix it. I was trying to show you what was happening.
That camera shot looks really good, right?
Mhm.
That camera shot looks pretty good.
No, I like this camera shot.
This one that we're on.
Yeah.
Why don't you? What do you don't like that one?
I don't know.
That one
It's
looks
green.
fine.
It's green.
And then,
This one, I'm telling you, this one's bad. The other one's good.
Wow, I'm so colorblind.
In my opinion. I don't know. Let us know in the chat.
I'm so colorblind.
Maybe I'm colorblind. But there's like
That was a fun show. Yes, we made a mistake, but that's good for you to know.
yeah, at least it
Tess
happened
learned
now because
something.
now I'll be thinking about this on Wednesday and Thursday when it really counts.
We should make the trip to the coffee shop a regular
Yes,
thing.
we should.
I can't wait to look back at the footage. Because
Me too.
I'm interested. The camera looked like it was lopsided.
Thank you for joining us,
Thanks,
Colin.
Colin.
It did, but we're going to have to look back at that. And Larry and Hugo is
Thanks,
thinking about
everybody.
purchasing a solo for education and interviewing students at events. Very cool.
Oh yeah, that's for Larry. Awesome. What else?
No, that was Hugo.
Streaming. This is this. You guys just saw pretty much our stream set up for.
I'm going to be in the studio though.
Yeah, you'll be in the studio, but you got an experience of that.
Yes.
And
The close up is green. Thank you.
We work so hard on it.
No matter what, like we can't perfect this studio. I almost need somebody
Different
to come in
lighting,
here. We need
more lights?
we need somebody that like.
Is this room green?
No, there's something wrong with the lighting of the cameras or something. It was lopsided, Mark.
It was
says.
lopsided. Yeah.
You guys are awesome. Larry says the solo's on my corporate Christmas list too. What's on my corporate Christmas list?
I was just putting together my Christmas list yesterday. You are right, Tess. Women have more cones in their eyes than men.
Mm-mm.
They can see color better. Why do we let Michael do all the color correcting? You should be doing this.
He's good at it too.
He is good at it.
You are just particularly struggle with
Bad
it.
at it.
I don't want to say bad at it, but you struggle because you have an actual condition. Audio has
Alright.
been out of sync. Everybody keeps telling me that today.
What?
I don't know. We have to figure that out. We got to figure our stuff out
1,
before
2,
Wednesday.
3, 4,
It's the white
5.
balance of the camera.
Hmm.
All right. But what's weird is I normally like the PTZ better, and this camera that you're seeing
1,
us through
2,
is
3,
the
4,
VL
5.
cam, the variable lens
I think
camera.
it is off a little bit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's watch that on the stream.
All right. Well, we got enough test footage to go back on. It must be the white balance. You know what? He's right. Colin's right. It's the white balance. We just need to redo the white balance. Simple. Actually, I could do it right now.
Would you like me to stop by tomorrow? David says. Paul won't be here. He's going to be on an
We
airplane
need
tomorrow
help,
morning.
guys.
And I'm just going to be
Oh.
setting up a bunch of stuff for, what are you doing?
I'm doing the white balance. Here's one push. Hold on. Is that better?
Yeah,
Less green?
much better, Paul. Now leave it. Okay, yeah. True. It's the white balance. That can be adjusted. Are we using fluorescent? There is fluorescent lighting in here.
Yeah.
But then we also have intentional
Fluorescent
lighting.
and LED. So there
Yeah.
could be a whatever you call it.
It still looks green in that picture.
It still does. There's one more thing I can touch up, which is the hue.
Oh, okay. You're about to change it.
Look at you. You're like all like scared.
Yeah, that does look better. Issues also arise when you have indoor and outdoor lighting mixed.
Yes, we have indoor, outdoor, and fluorescent, and LED. We've got it all. Doesn't look out of sync.
Now
to me,
your
so
face
it's a big
looks
issue.
red.
Well, hold on, Tess. I was playing with the hue. Look up there. Ready? Tell me when I get it right. Is that better?
Now the door behind you, this
Is it
needs
green?
to go. It's green as can be.
Well, don't look at that. That can be green. Look at my skin
No,
tone.
because it looks bad. See, your skin tone looks good now.
Okay, let's just leave it then. There's too much like blue and like pale green.
What is that
stupid
green
door?
light
It's the
coming from?
darn door.
No, it's the. But I think it's the fluorescent lighting. What if we turn off? How dark is that? What if we just did in here? Like
I think that
turn
actually
the
looks
lights.
pretty good.
This is with the fluorescent lights turned off. This might be better.
It's not bad, right?
Now it's changing here, so let's see. I think this is better than ever, even though it's a little bit darker.
What if we added like
we
one
can
or two
add
more
some more
lights
studio lights
and kept it like this?
It looks more podcasty. Like
It does. I think it looks
I just
good.
hate the fluorescence so much. Yeah. Okay. So see, our audience members know more about lighting than us. I think.
and
Albinus
green
says
spike.
fluorescent light will give a pink and green spike in your visuals. Yeah, that's what That's exactly what's happening. It's the fluorescent lights.
All right then. We'll just.
Thank you.
I like it. Do
You
like
still
it?
do look pink.
Or is it
though.
too dark?
It's because I have makeup on, so my skin doesn't look pink.
I think we could add like two
You
more
just
lights.
need some
and we'd be
makeup.
really good, right?
Your face doesn't look pink in person at all.
Makeup.
Hey, Stuart.
I don't want any makeup.
You need to have makeup. Get over it.
So, Larry thinks it's better.
That is better. Actually, I look kind of pink too. But I do like the lights off. We can work with this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's what we'll do.
Maybe one day we need to go live and just do live color correction and lighting with our audience, where they just give us feedback after feedback, because it's hard because one of us, one is colorblind, and then I'm over here just trying to figure out what looks good, and my judgment's not good, and I don't know what I'm doing.
I think we could definitely put a light from over there shining over here, because
need to, like,
it
fill
would
this.
be totally off camera. You wouldn't be able to see it. And
Hey,
then
Pat.
one more over here. See you,
Bye.
Pat.
Get some good rest.
Some rest.
Pat just got back from China yesterday, so his time schedule's all messed up. And tomorrow morning, he's getting on an airplane for Orlando with Paul and Matt Richards. So I feel bad for him. He's got it rough.
It was my choice.
And okay,
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you Wednesday.
All right, so I'll let you cut the stream so you can see what it looks like.
Okay, but okay. So this will be as if I'm doing it from the studio. Kill the fluorescence. It's definitely. Hey, Cliff, what's up? Colin says. Okay, so we're done with the fluorescence. I'm done. Gray, BKG between the two cameras. Our phones were blowing up during the show.
What? Oh, the sound.